Chosen one. Heaven is watching you in silence right now. The atmosphere around you feels charged, as if the unseen has stopped to witness what just took place. For so long, you walked through the valley of testing, misunderstood by people and underestimated by the world. Yet heaven saw everything: the tears, the prayers, the moments you almost broke but didn't. Every second of your endurance was being recorded in eternity. And now, what you have finally done has shocked heaven itself. You didn't win by shouting louder. You didn't conquer by proving your worth. You won because you refused to quit. That quiet obedience, that moment when you surrendered your will instead of forcing your way. Heaven saw that. Angels leaned closer, because this was the turning point written in your destiny scroll before you were even born. You thought the battle was about circumstances, but it was about character. Every delay shaped you. Every disappointment purified you. The pain you endured wasn't wasted. It was the forge that made you unbreakable. The fire didn't destroy you because it wasn't meant to. It revealed who you truly are. The Word of God proclaims in the book of Job, chapter 23, verse 10, "But he knows the way that I take. When he has tested me, I shall come forth as gold." That's exactly what happened. You came forth as gold. Your endurance became evidence of divine transformation. You stood still when you could have cursed the process. You prayed when no one was watching. You worshipped when nothing seemed to change. That is what shook heaven, the sound of pure obedience rising from a heart that refused to compromise. Heaven is not impressed by fame or talent. It is moved by surrender. When you finally said, "I trust you, even here," every principality that mocked your faith fell silent. The same angels who once wept over your pain now sing over your victory. What you did was not small, it was eternal. For years you were hidden, misunderstood, even mocked. People thought you were losing, but heaven knew you were being prepared. You carried promises that seemed impossible, but you didn't abandon them. The silence you walked through was not punishment. It was proof that God trusted you with mystery. He trusted you to believe, even when you didn't understand. Now, heaven celebrates what hell underestimated. The very thing the enemy used to break you became your testimony. You have stepped into alignment, and all of heaven stands in awe of your yes. The echo of your obedience travels through realms you cannot see. Chosen one. Do not underestimate what your faith has triggered. You have shifted timelines. You have activated divine favor. You have proven that surrender is stronger than striving. Heaven's shock is not disbelief. It is reverence for the depth of your trust. There were moments when you thought no one noticed. But heaven noticed. You thought you were forgotten. But you were being observed by the one who never sleeps. When you took that last step of obedience, the one that cost you peace, pride, and comfort, it wasn't just you moving. It was the kingdom advancing through you. Now the light that once flickered inside of you burns steady. You have become a signal fire in a world that has grown cold. The same voice that called Lazarus from the tomb is calling you into purpose. And this time, you are ready. You've been tried by fire, and nothing can intimidate you anymore. The tests that terrified you before now serve as your testimony. The heavens have shifted. What was closed is opening. What was delayed is being released. Because heaven responds to obedience, not noise. And your obedience has thundered across dimensions. You have not just survived, You have changed the spiritual climate around you. You are no longer the one waiting for a miracle. You have become the miracle. Every battle you faced was preparation for this unveiling moment. The crown of perseverance now rests upon your spirit. The tears that once felt wasted are the very oil that heaven now pours over your destiny. Lift your head. The waiting season has ended. Step forward with confidence, not arrogance, but holy boldness. Heaven is still in awe, not because of what you achieved, but because of who you became. In the process, you didn't just endure the fire, you transformed in it. If this message resonates with your spirit, do not let it pass like any other word. This is heaven's confirmation that your endurance was not in vain. Share this message. Subscribe for more divine reminders. And in the comments below, write 555 as a prophetic declaration that your testing has produced gold and your obedience has awakened heaven. Heaven was shocked. Chosen one, but not because you surprised God. Heaven was shocked because you finally realized who you are. You didn't know it then, but the years of silence were sacred. Every hidden season was heaven's classroom. You weren't being punished, you were being prepared. While you cried, wondering why God felt distant, He was sculpting something within you that couldn't be rushed. The pain wasn't wasted, it was precision. You were walking through a divine apprenticeship, learning, endurance, patience, and spiritual authority without even realizing it. There were nights you lay awake, whispering prayers that felt unanswered. Heaven heard every one. You thought you were being ignored, but you were being studied, heaven observing how your heart would respond when stripped of everything comfortable. You were never forgotten, you were being refined. The years of hidden fire were not about breaking you, but about burning away what couldn't stay. The pride, the fear, the need for validation, all had to melt before you could carry the weight of your true calling. The pressure was necessary because the purity of gold can only be proven in heat. It is written in the first letter of Peter, chapter 1, verse 7. These trials will show that your faith is genuine. It is being tested as fire tests and purifies gold, though your faith is far more precious than mere gold. Sometimes heaven hides you so the world won't crown you too early. You wanted exposure, but God wanted endurance. You wanted recognition, but God wanted revelation. So He let you sit in the shadows unseen but watched. Tired, yet treasured. Every hidden act of faith. Every quiet moment you chose. Integrity, when compromise seemed easier, became a brick in the unseen foundation of your destiny. You thought no one saw you forgiving when you had every right to fight back. You thought no one noticed the way you served quietly, with no applause. But heaven did. The angels assigned to your path took record of every silent victory. They wrote down every time you said yes when everything inside you wanted to quit. Those choices became sacred memorials before the throne. In the unseen realm, you were being equipped for authority. Hiddenness was heaven's investment in your future influence. Every closed door kept you from rooms that would have corrupted you too soon. Every unanswered prayer was protection in disguise. The delay wasn't rejection, it was redirection. God was not denying you, He was defining you. There's a mystery in divine timing. God allows storms not to destroy your faith, but to strengthen it. When He seemed far away, He was actually closer than ever, standing silent to teach you to hear His heartbeat instead of His words. You learned to discern his presence in emptiness. You learned that his no was just another way of saying, not yet. End of The years of hidden fire also exposed what you were made of. You discovered strength you never knew you had. You found grace in the ashes and peace in the uncertainty. You realized you could lose everything and still have joy, because what anchored you was not circumstance but covenant. There's a reason some people couldn't stay in your life. They weren't assigned to this chapter. Your journey required isolation because revelation rarely comes in crowds. You had to lose some things to find the truth of who you are. The fire removed illusions and dependence on approval. It left only what was real, your unwavering connection to God. Now, as you look back, the puzzle begins to make sense. The silence was strategy. The suffering was shaping. What looked like abandonment was actually divine attention. God trusted you enough to hide you until you were ready. You were like a seed buried beneath the soil, silent, unseen, but alive. The darkness wasn't your grave, it was your growth chamber. Every tear watered your destiny. Every moment of confusion became fertilizer for your faith. And when the appointed time arrived, God whispered, "Now." And you began to rise. Your rise didn't look like a sudden miracle. It came quietly, like dawn after a long night. And heaven rejoiced because you didn't rush the process. You let the refining fire do its perfect work. Now, what once hurt you has no power over you. The memories that used to sting now testify of your strength. You've come through the hidden fire, and the glow around your life isn't pride, it's purity. Heaven doesn't just see you anymore, it trusts you. The years of hidden fire were never wasted, they were holy. And every moment of that season was preparing you for what heaven knew was coming next. There was a moment, chosen one, when everything inside you felt like breaking. You had done all you knew to do, prayed, waited, hoped, and still. It felt like nothing was changing. That was your breaking point. But heaven never saw it as failure. In the courts of eternity, that moment became the very foundation of your next chapter. It was when the old you began to die and the true you began to emerge. The breaking point is not the end, it's the unveiling. You thought you were falling apart, but heaven knew you were being rebuilt. Every shattered dream became material for a greater design. You were not losing, you were being loosened from what couldn't follow you into destiny. Pain has a way of becoming holy when surrendered. God never wastes brokenness. He uses it as the soil for miracles. The moment you said, "I can't do this anymore," was the moment heaven whispered, "Good, now let me." What you called collapse was actually construction. The ruins became the raw material for resurrection. You didn't know it, but your tears were the language of transformation. When your plans fell apart, heaven's plan was just beginning. You lost what was built by your own strength so that you could carry what would only survive through grace. It was spoken in the book of Psalms, chapter 34, verse 18. The Lord is near to the broken-hearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. And that verse has been alive in your story. Heaven never left the room when you cried. It drew closer. The nights you felt abandoned were the nights angels stood guard over your threshold. You thought you were drowning, but God was teaching you how to breathe underwater, how to live by faith, not sight. You have walked through seasons that stripped away your certainty, your plans, even your pride. But something powerful happened in that breaking. You learned to lean, not just stand. You learned dependence. not desperation. You learned that surrender is not weakness, it's warfare. The enemy expected your breakdown to silence you, but it birthed your testimony instead. There's a strength born only in surrender. Heaven watched as you dropped your weapons of self-defense and opened your hands. That was the moment light entered. The moment you said yes in your weakness, heaven roared in triumph. Because that's when transformation truly begins, not in victory, but in vulnerability. Some of the most powerful moves of God are disguised as endings. You thought it was over, but it was the beginning of your rebirth. What broke you actually broke through you. The pressure released a deeper oil, the kind that only flows from those who have known both fire and faith. You're not defined by what you lost, but by what survived. You're still standing. That alone is a miracle. Heaven celebrates not because everything went your way, but because you kept walking when everything went wrong. The breaking point became your birthplace. Now you carry a compassion that can't be taught in comfort. You speak peace into others' storms because you've survived your own. You no longer just talk about faith, you embody it. That's why heaven trusts you with influence. Because your authority was forged in suffering. And if you're wondering why the pain had to be so deep, it's because your calling is just as deep. Shallow roots can't hold heavy crowns. The greater the fire, the greater the proof that you were chosen for more. So don't regret the breaking. Don't curse the fire. Thank God for it. Because every fracture let the light in. Every disappointment stripped away the false, so the truth could stand tall inside you. You are not fragile anymore. You are fortified. When heaven looks at you now, it doesn't see the one who almost gave up. It sees the one who learned how to rise from ashes without bitterness. The one who found beauty in surrender. The one who turned pain into prophecy. If this truth is stirring in your spirit, take a breath and write this in the comments. I rise again. Write it not as a phrase, but as a decree, a line drawn in the spirit to mark that you have survived your breaking point. It's more than words. It's agreement with heaven that your rebuilding has already begun. Because what once crushed you has now crowned you. Heaven was never disappointed by your breaking. It was waiting for your becoming. If you type it, heaven will echo it. Every letter becomes a sound in eternity, declaring your spirit refuses to stay buried. The heavens record your words. Chosen one, I rise again, becomes your seal. Your rebirth is witnessed. Your destiny confirmed. Your crown restored. You begin to understand. Now nothing you went through was random. The veil starts to lift. And what once felt like chaos begins to reveal divine design. Every loss had a lesson. Every delay had a direction. The things that once broke you were actually aligning you. What you thought was punishment was preservation. What you called rejection was redirection. Heaven had to hide the full picture so that your faith could mature in the mystery. When the veil lifts, clarity comes, not suddenly, but softly. It doesn't shout, it whispers. You start to see that even your detours were sacred. You realize God wasn't silent, He was strategic. There were prayers He didn't answer because His protection was disguised as delay. There were doors He didn't open because what waited behind them wasn't meant for your anointing. Now, looking back, you see the fingerprints of heaven on everything that once confused you. You begin to sense that angels have always been near, recording every act of faith done in secret. The unseen realm has been watching the way you chose integrity over convenience, truth over comfort, mercy over pride. Heaven does not measure success the way the world does. It measures surrender. And your surrender has become a melody in the courts of eternity, as revealed in the book of Daniel, chapter 10, verse 12. From the first day that you set your heart to understand and to humble yourself before your God, your words were heard. Those words are your confirmation. Heaven heard you long before you saw the evidence. Every prayer, every whisper, every sigh of surrender reached the throne instantly. The silence that followed wasn't indifference, it was intercession. Angels were moving, aligning outcomes you couldn't yet perceive. The waiting wasn't wasted, it was working. Now, heaven begins to unveil the pattern. The times you were delayed were not detours, they were divine timing in disguise. The relationships that ended were necessary to free your focus. The opportunities that fell through protected your purpose. God was never withholding, He was weaving. You only saw threads of confusion, but He was composing a masterpiece of redemption. The veil lifting means revelation replaces resentment. You no longer ask, "Why me?" but "What are you teaching me?" The questions change because your spirit has matured beyond needing explanations. Now you understand that faith isn't proven in outcomes, but in obedience. What once felt like endless testing was God shaping your endurance into unshakable trust. The lifting of the veil also reveals how near heaven has always been. The coincidences weren't coincidences. The gentle nudges, the sudden peace in chaos, the moments of strength you couldn't explain, all of it was divine orchestration. The same hands that formed galaxies were guiding you through heartbreak. The same voice that spoke creation into being was whispering comfort while you cried. And now, heaven begins to respond openly. The quiet approval becomes movement. The promises you once only felt begin to take form. You recognize patterns of grace that were invisible before. You see that your story has been layered with mercy from the very beginning. The veil doesn't lift all at once. It unfolds as you keep walking. The more you trust, the clearer it gets. Every revelation brings both comfort and awe. You realize how carefully heaven has been watching you. How much grace was protecting you when you didn't even know you needed it. Nothing escaped divine notice, not a single act of love, not a single tear of faith. Your history has been holy all along, and with that realization comes peace. You stop fighting for control. You stop demanding answers. You rest in the knowing that you were never abandoned, only refined. The veil was never meant to hide God from you. It was meant to reveal Him through you. Now that you see, you can never unsee. You know too much of grace to ever return to fear. Heaven's hand has been upon you from the beginning, guiding, guarding, and gathering every fragment of your story into purpose. The veil has lifted, and now your clarity becomes your crown. You walk lighter now, not because life grew easier, but because understanding replaced anxiety. The unseen no longer frightens you, it fuels your faith. You trust the process because you've glimpsed divine precision. Every sunrise feels different. Even silence sounds sacred. You no longer chase signs, you carry revelation. What once confused you now confirms you were never wandering, only being led by unseen grace. Heaven smiles as you walk with calm authority. The veil has lifted completely. What was once mystery is now memory, a testimony that faith truly sees before sight ever arrives. When heaven erupted the moment you finally surrendered, something shifted, not just around you, but within you. It wasn't loud thunder or golden light breaking the sky. It was quieter than that. It was peace, a still, steady peace that said, "You've done what few are willing to do. You've obeyed." The shock of heaven wasn't disbelief. It was wonder. Angels saw you release what the world would have clung to. You gave up control. You chose trust over fear. You chose obedience over opinion. And heaven, in its brilliance, responded with joy that rippled through eternity. Every act of surrender makes a sound in the unseen realm. Yours was a roar disguised as a whisper. It told the darkness, "You no longer own me." And that moment became your spiritual coronation, the unseen crown placed on your unseen obedience. Heaven's celebration wasn't about perfection, but transformation. You didn't become flawless, you became faithful. That's what moves heaven. Faithfulness is heaven's favorite language. Every time you forgive, every time you choose peace, every time you show love, when bitterness feels easier, you speak fluently in the language of heaven. As written in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 15, verse 7, "There will be more rejoicing in heaven over one sinner who repents than over 99 righteous persons who do not need to repent." Oh, that's the kind of joy that surrounded your name, the same joy that floods heaven when even one heart says yes again. Your obedience has created ripples that go far beyond what your eyes can see. Now, as you stand in the aftermath of that sacred shift, you can feel it. The air around you is different. Peace doesn't visit you anymore. It lives with you. It's as though heaven itself breathes through your lungs. And yet, this moment isn't just for you. It's a spark for others. The light that found you is meant to travel. When you share what heaven did in you, you're not just telling a story, you're extending a lifeline. Somewhere out there, someone is one breath away from giving up. And your words might be the very thing that pulls them back toward hope. That's why these messages exist, to carry that same breath of heaven into hearts all over the world. They are reminders for the weary, keys for the locked-hearted, light for the ones still lost in shadow. If this message has stirred something inside you, if it's helped you breathe a little deeper, see a little clearer, then stay connected. Like this message, share it forward, and subscribe so you can walk with this same current of grace. Every action is a ripple of light, touching unseen shores, heaven's way of multiplying hope through human hands. And if one day your heart feels led, you can sow into this light. Think of it as placing another lamp along the path for someone still walking in the dark. Your seed becomes illumination. Your gift becomes guidance. Every drop you release flows into an unseen river that carries comfort farther than words can reach. You are never required, only invited. Just like God never forces grace. We never force giving. Let it come from joy, not obligation. Let it be worship, not weight. Because when it comes from the heart, even a spark becomes sunrise. Maybe you can't give much. That's all right. Heaven doesn't measure the amount, it measures the motive. The widow's 2 coins moved the heart of Jesus more than a rich man's treasure because love was in her hands. When love gives, heaven multiplies it. So if you ever feel stirred to keep this flame alive, tap like, whisper a share, plant a seed, or simply subscribe. Each act is a candle lit in the unseen, guiding another soul home. Picture it like this. Every time you give, A single spark leaves your hand, carried by the wind of grace. It travels farther than you'll ever know, lighting candles in hearts you'll never meet. That's what generosity does. It turns one light into many. You've already proven your heart can carry fire. Now, let that fire spread, not as pressure, but as purpose. If you feel moved, plant that seed today. If not, carry the message in your words. Your love, your kindness, both are holy offerings before heaven. The truth is simple. This space only exists because hearts like yours believe that hope should be free, that light should keep shining, that heaven's words should never fade. Whether you like, share, subscribe, or quietly give, remember, you are not funding a page. You are fueling a mission. You're keeping heaven's echo alive in the world. And whether you give, share, or simply listen, you're part of that miracle. Heaven celebrated what you did in secret, but it will multiply what you do next in faith. The moment you said yes to God, something ancient awakened inside you. The sound of your obedience rippled through realms beyond time. It wasn't just a personal decision, it was a divine activation. In the unseen, the scrolls that carried your name began to unseal. The destiny written for you long ago started to breathe again. You may not realize it yet, but your obedience is contagious. When one chosen one rises, others begin to hear the same call. Heaven never lights one torch for it to burn alone. Your surrender has ignited others who were waiting for a sign that faith still works, that hope still heals, that grace still reaches. In this moment, a quiet army is awakening, not with swords and noise, but with compassion and conviction. They move through workplaces, schools, and homes, ordinary spaces turned into holy ground because a chosen one stands there. The light you carry has begun to multiply. Heaven calls it the rising of the marked ones. It is written in the book of Isaiah, chapter 60, verse 1, "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you." That word was not just for prophets of old, it's for you. Here, now, you are the fulfillment of that command. Heaven's glory is not hovering, it's inhabiting you. Every step you take now leaves a trace of divine fire on the earth. Every word you speak becomes a seed of awakening. Look around you, things are shifting. People you thought would never change are softening. Opportunities you thought were gone are returning. But this time, you move differently. You move as one who has seen behind the veil. You move with authority that only surrender can give. You no longer chase favor. Favor chases you. You no longer beg for acceptance. Heaven has already called you its own. The weight of doubt that used to chain your spirit has been replaced with an unshakable knowing. You were never random, never overlooked, never ordinary. This is not coincidence, this is divine coordination. The right voices are being drawn to you, not because you sought them, but because your light has become a signal. You are the confirmation someone has been praying for. That's how heaven works. It uses the healed to heal, the restored to restore, the once broken to build bridges for others. The light you now carry terrifies darkness. You don't need to fight the shadows anymore. You simply shine, and the darkness flees because it cannot argue with illumination. That's your calling, to stand and glow. No speech is needed, no perfection required, just presence, God's presence. alive in you. And as this fire spreads, heaven watches with awe again. What began as one heart choosing obedience is now a movement of hearts choosing holiness. You've become part of heaven's living network of light. Each life, a glowing thread in the tapestry of redemption. But remember, light must stay connected to its source. Stay rooted in prayer. Stay tender before God. Don't let success or applause steal the simplicity of your devotion. You are not building a name, you are carrying a flame. Keep it pure. Keep it burning. There's one more thing heaven asks of you now. Testify. Tell your story. Speak about the moments when you almost gave up, but didn't. Share not to boast, but to prove that grace still transforms. Every testimony becomes a torch. When you speak, darkness loses another territory. And right here, in this sacred space, your testimony begins with a number, a simple act of agreement in the Spirit. It's not superstition, it's symbolism. It's a sign that you understand what's happening in you and around you. So, if this message has reached your spirit, if you know deep down that heaven is marking your life with purpose and power, comment this number, 444. It represents alignment, divine order, and heaven's seal of stability upon your steps. When you type it, you're not just commenting, you're declaring that your journey is now synchronized with heaven's rhythm. And as you do, imagine the ripple, each 444, a spark. Each spark, another chosen one awakening. Together, those sparks form constellations of purpose across the earth. Heaven watches, smiling not in surprise, this time, but in recognition. You are walking exactly as you were designed to, radiant, refined, and ready. The marked ones are rising, and you are among them. When you write 444, you are echoing heaven's rhythm, Father, Son, and Spirit, moving in unity through your steps, aligning your life with divine precision and peace. Each 444 typed becomes a heavenly signature, marking you as stable, grounded, and guided. It is heaven's confirmation that your purpose now walks in perfect order. The war in the unseen didn't begin when you noticed it. It began the day heaven marked you. From the moment you carried light, darkness took notice. You were not attacked because you were weak, but because you became valuable. Every season of pressure, every spiritual battle, was proof that the enemy recognized your assignment before you did. There were days when the atmosphere felt heavy for no reason, when you woke up weary without a cause. That was not coincidence. It was resistance. The very air around you was reacting to your potential. But what you didn't know was that heaven had already armed you for this long before the battle began. The war was never about what you could lose. It was about what you might discover. The enemy wasn't trying to take your possessions. He was after your perception. Because once you know who you are, once you recognize the authority that moves through you, his influence collapses like dust in the wind, as revealed in the book of Ephesians, chapter 6, verse 12. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world and the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. That truth explains so much, doesn't it? People weren't your enemy. Pressure was. Circumstances weren't your curse. They were catalysts. You were never meant to fight flesh. You were called to command the unseen. You have been learning to speak heaven's language into earthly chaos. Every storm you faced trained you in invisible warfare. When you prayed through pain, you weren't surviving, you were striking. Every tear became a weapon. Every act of forgiveness became a shield. Every moment you refused to hate became a sword in your hand. Heaven saw it all. You didn't just endure. You advanced. You learned that true victory doesn't always look like winning. Sometimes it looks like peace. The enemy expected you to retaliate, but you responded with grace. He expected fear, but you stood still. Expected silence, but you worshipped. Every reaction opposite to darkness weakened his claim over your life. The unseen war isn't a place of panic, it's a place of proving. God never allowed a battle without embedding you with enough authority to win it. When the pressure increased, it wasn't to crush you, it was to reveal that you were made of something eternal. Light can't be destroyed, it only expands when pressed. And that's what you've become, a living expansion of light. Your endurance created shockwaves in the spiritual realm. Each time you chose faith instead of fear, you rewrote the atmosphere. Regions that once carried despair now hum with possibility because your obedience opened spiritual gates. Heaven's armies have always surrounded you, though unseen. Every whisper of prayer summoned reinforcement. Every quiet night of worship was a trumpet in the spirit. You were never fighting alone. You were leading from within the light. The enemy's strategy was isolation, but heaven's plan was intimacy. In your solitude, you found strength. You've started to notice something strange. The battles don't feel the same anymore. It's not that the attacks stopped, it's that your spirit outgrew their reach. The same tactics that once terrified you now bore you. The weapons formed against you still appear, but they have lost their aim, because authority, once realized, changes everything. Now you see the truth. You were never the hunted, you were the hazard. Your existence disrupts darkness. The very air shifts when you pray. The enemy flees not because of who you are, but because of who stands behind you. There is power in quiet confidence. Heaven doesn't need you to shout, it needs you to stand. You carry something that cannot be imitated or stolen, the indwelling presence of God Himself, and that makes you untouchable in spirit. So when the next storm rises, don't panic. Recognize the pattern. The shaking isn't punishment, it's announcement. Every storm announces promotion. Heaven never allows warfare without reward. When the pressure comes again, smile. You've already been here before, and this time, you know how the story ends. You've won before the first strike, not because of your strength, but because victory has already been scripted. The war in the unseen is not your burden, it's your birthplace. Every battle has only birthed a bolder, brighter version of you. You now walk through storms as if through wind. Unshaken, unafraid. You've learned that resistance is only recognition. Darkness trembles because your light keeps growing stronger. Heaven records your calm as victory. Every silent breath of faith becomes thunder in eternity. You've mastered the unseen war. Peace has become your greatest weapon. There comes a moment when everything that once worked against you begins to serve you. The same ground where you once fell becomes the platform of your testimony. Heaven loves reversal stories, and yours has become one of them. What the enemy designed to destroy you has become the very evidence of your endurance. Every scar that once made you ashamed now tells a story that disarms shame itself. The tables are turning. slowly, silently, and completely. You don't need to announce it. Heaven already has. Everything that tried to bury you only planted you deeper into purpose. The pressure didn't end you, it rooted you. And now, what was hidden is breaking through the surface. People who once doubted you are watching in confusion. They can't explain your peace, your glow, your grace. They remember who you were but can't deny who you've become. That's the power of divine reversal. It leaves no room for human explanation. The fingerprints of God are all over your comeback. That verse could have been written from your own story. Every betrayal, every heartbreak, every false accusation, all of it was raw material for God's masterpiece. He doesn't waste pain. He repurposes it. Even the things that broke you were secretly building you. When you were crying, heaven was crafting. When you were losing, heaven was layering foundations. When you thought it was over, God whispered to angels, "Not yet, they're still being shaped." Now, you stand where once you fell. You speak peace where once you wept. You've become living proof that redemption is real and relentless. What once caused you sleepless nights now fuels your purpose with holy fire. It's strange, isn't it? The pain that nearly destroyed you has become the place where you now find your strength. That's because heaven never forgets to finish what it starts. Every dark season has an expiration date. Every valley has a hidden path that leads upward. Every loss contains a lesson that becomes light once you're ready to see it. This is divine recycling, the art of heaven turning ashes into beauty. Every shattered piece of your story has been gathered and fitted into a larger design. The things you once wished had never happened are now part of your anointing. You couldn't have empathy without heartbreak, compassion without loss, authority without endurance. Heaven knew what it was doing. The tables have turned not just around you, but inside you. You no longer crave revenge, you crave redemption. You no longer ask, "Why me?" but "How can I use this for good?" That shift in your spirit is proof that the miracle has already begun. Now, your enemies have become your educators. Their opposition taught you strategy. Their rejection taught you resilience. Even their lies became lessons that sharpened your discernment. You learned not to respond to everything because kings don't argue with shadows. The same voices that mocked you will one day quote you. The same eyes that rolled at your faith will witness your restoration. But by then, you'll be too busy giving glory to notice. The higher you rise, the quieter you become. This is how heaven redeems quietly, elegantly, and completely. It doesn't need to humiliate those who hurt you. It just elevates you so gracefully that your existence becomes their correction. You don't have to explain your transformation. Your peace does it for you. Now, everything is beginning to make sense. The delays that frustrated you were divine pacing. The losses that humbled you were sacred lessons. You were being protected from premature promotion, preserved for divine precision. Heaven wanted you mature, not just visible. You've reached the stage where revenge feels small and grace feels right. You don't need to win arguments. Your fruit speaks louder than your words. Every success now carries softness. Every blessing now humbles you. That's what it means to truly overcome, not to prove others wrong, but to prove God right. The tables have turned, and you didn't even have to touch them. Heaven flipped them while you prayed, while you healed, while you forgave. And now the same darkness that tried to drown you must watch as you walk across waters of restoration. The story has shifted. The night has bowed to dawn. What was once your deepest pain has become your greatest power. This is what divine reversal looks like. Effortless victory born from faithful surrender. When heaven speaks, it rarely shouts. Its voice is not found in the storm, but in the stillness after it. You have begun to hear it, not as thunder, but as a gentle knowing inside your spirit. What once sounded distant now feels familiar. Like a whisper you've always known, but only recently learned to recognize. That is, the voice of the throne. It doesn't always say what you expect. Sometimes it speaks through peace in the middle of confusion, or through closed doors that protect you from unseen danger. Other times, it speaks through people, through scripture, through sudden clarity that floods your mind at just the right moment. The key is not volume, it's recognition. As written in the Gospel of John, chapter 10, verse 27, "My sheep listen to my voice. I know them, and they follow me." You've been learning that voice through every delay, every silence, every unexpected redirection. Heaven has been teaching you how to distinguish divine instruction from human noise. It's not about hearing with your ears, it's about perceiving with your heart. When your heart is still, the voice becomes unmistakable. That voice has never led you into confusion. It might lead you through difficulty, but never into destruction. Its tone carries peace, even when it corrects. It doesn't manipulate, it invites. It doesn't condemn, it restores. The voice of the throne is both tender and terrifying in its authority. When it speaks, eternity bends to listen. There were moments you doubted it. You thought, was that really God? Or just me? But you're learning that obedience is the answer to that question. When you act in faith and see fruit, you know it was Him. His instructions always carry fingerprints of wisdom, clarity, and peace, never panic or pride. You may not hear words every time, but you'll feel alignment. You'll know when heaven approves, because everything inside you settles. That's the sound of agreement between your spirit and His. And in that alignment, miracles begin to flow naturally, not forced, not fabricated, but fluid. The voice of the throne also teaches timing. Sometimes heaven stays silent, not because you've done something wrong, but because you've already received the last instruction and haven't acted on it yet. Silence is not absence, it's a call to movement. God's next word often waits for your next step. You've discovered that heaven's voice doesn't compete with the world's noise, it outlasts it. It doesn't fade when others stop believing, it stays steady, like a melody under keys. That's how you discern it. It's the sound that remains when everything else falls quiet. The more you obey, the louder that whisper becomes. Heaven trusts those who listen. Every time you choose to follow that inner nudge instead of fear, the voice becomes clearer. You start to live not by reaction, but by revelation. And revelation always leads to restoration. There's a weight to this season. You can feel it. Heaven is not just speaking to comfort you, it's speaking to commission you. What once felt like personal encouragement has become divine instruction. You are being positioned to speak for heaven, not just listen to it. Soon, you'll realize that your words carry weight, not because they're yours, but because you've learned to echo His act. When you speak peace, heaven backs it. When you declare healing, Angels move. The voice of the throne doesn't just speak to you, it speaks through you. That's why you must keep your heart tender. The throne room only trusts soft hearts. Bitterness blocks frequency. Humility clears it. Keep your spirit uncluttered. Let forgiveness remain your shield and purity your compass. The clearer your heart, the clearer his sound. Right now, as this message reaches you, heaven's frequency is tuned to your spirit again. The same voice that called creation into being is whispering direction into your destiny. Can you feel it? That gentle pull? That's not coincidence, it's command. And if your spirit recognizes that voice, then answer it here and now. Comment this: I hear clearly. Len, write it as your agreement with heaven. It's not just a sentence, it's your spiritual signature. Every time you affirm it, you train your soul to respond faster, to recognize sooner, to trust deeper, because the voice of the throne has never stopped speaking, only waiting for you to answer back. When you type, I hear clearly, you're not just commenting, you're declaring alignment. You're saying, my spirit is awake. I recognize the divine frequency that guides me. Each word becomes a doorway. Heaven reads it as a signal that your heart is ready to receive deeper revelation. Clearer instruction. Unshakable direction. So as you write it, pause and listen again. That still, familiar whisper you sense now, that is heaven answering back. And I am speaking clearly to you. No. Something has shifted in the spirit. You can feel it. The air is charged with purpose. The silence that once weighed heavy on your chest now feels sacred, alive with direction. Heaven has placed something in your hands, a mantle, invisible yet undeniable. You don't wear it for recognition, you carry it for responsibility. This is not a title, it's a trust. You've been entrusted with a prophetic mantle. It doesn't come with applause or fame, it comes with awareness. You now sense what others overlook. You feel what heaven feels. You discern moments that carry eternal weight. This is the mark of one heaven can depend on: someone who listens, obeys, and speaks only when led. This new mantle isn't about power, it's about posture. You are being called to walk low. Even as heaven lifts you high, your strength will not be measured in how loud your voice becomes, but in how softly your heart remains. The more God reveals, the smaller you will need to become. Greatness in the kingdom is always wrapped in humility, as revealed in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 23, verse 12. Whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and whoever humbles himself will be exalted. That truth now breathes through you. The more you serve, the more heaven trusts you. The more you pour, the more heaven refills you. This is the divine exchange. You lose nothing by giving, and you gain nothing by grasping. Your authority flows from your surrender. Every prophetic mantle is woven from threads of obedience. It carries the fragrance of hidden prayers, the weight of private tears, the glow of consistent faithfulness. Heaven never hands such garments to the proud. It clothes those who have walked through fire without losing their tenderness. When you speak now, your words carry weight, not because they are yours, but because they echo heaven's tone. You've learned that prophecy isn't performance, it's partnership. You're not predicting the future, you're revealing the Father's heart. The more you align with His love, the clearer your words become. And as this mantle rests on you, heaven invites you into something deeper, a movement, not of noise but of nurture. These messages are more than content. They are embers from the altar. Each one carries warmth for a weary soul somewhere out there. When you share, you're not promoting, you're planting. Like this message, share it forward and subscribe so you can keep walking with this stream of light. Every click is not a number, it's another ripple of hope leaving your hand, traveling across hearts that you'll never meet. And if your spirit ever feels stirred to go further, to sustain the flame that lights others, there's a gentle way to do that too. Giving here is not obligation, it's participation. Think of it as placing oil in a lamp, so it can keep burning through the night. Every drop you pour helps the light travel farther, reaching souls still sitting in their dark corners of doubt. You are never pressured, only invited. In heaven's language, generosity is never a transaction, it's transformation. When you give, even quietly, you join heaven's rhythm of love flowing outward. A simple act becomes sacred when it's done with a willing heart. Maybe you can't give much right now. That's all right. Every small seed matters. God multiplies sincerity far beyond size. Your prayer, your share, your kindness, all are forms of giving. Heaven measures not the hand, but the heart. So if you feel moved, like share, subscribe, or Zoe, each gesture becomes a candle placed on the shoreline for another wanderer to find their way home. The world is full of noise, but light still speaks louder. Your action might be the bridge between despair and hope for someone else. Picture it like this. Every seed you plant becomes a lighthouse in the distance, shining long after you've walked away. Somewhere, someone will see that light and remember that God still speaks, still saves, still restores. You've been given this mantle to serve, not to shine. But the irony of heaven is that when you serve, you do shine, because humility glows brighter than pride ever could. This space, this message, this mission, it exists because hearts like yours keep the fire alive. You are not just a listener, you're a flame bearer, a co-keeper of heaven's light on earth. Whether you like, share, subscribe, or quietly give, remember, you're not fueling a platform, you're feeding a purpose. Every act is an echo of obedience, every ripple a reflection of heaven, and in heaven's record, the smallest spark of generosity burns forever. Restoration does not arrive with noise, it moves like dawn, gentle yet unstoppable. You've entered that quiet season now. The pieces that once scattered are finding their way back together, not as they were, but as they were always meant to be. This is the beauty of heaven's restoration. It doesn't simply return what was lost. It transforms what was broken into something stronger, purer, more radiant. You once wondered if recovery was possible after so much loss. Heaven's answer came, not in thunder, but in subtle renewal. You began to notice small mercies, peace where pain once lived, laughter returning where silence had lingered too long, hope unfolding like a flower in forgotten soil. Restoration is not an event, it's a slow resurrection. The world measures restoration by return, but heaven measures it by revelation. You may not get back what was taken, but you will gain what you never had: clarity, wisdom, compassion. These are treasures too weighty to be stolen. Heaven restores from the inside out, teaching you that what was truly yours was never lost. as sung long ago by David in the Psalms. Chapter 23, verse 3, He restores my soul. He guides me in paths of righteousness for His name's sake. Oh, that verse lives within you now. Restoration begins in your soul before it touches your circumstances. It rewires how you see everything. The same people, the same places, the same memories now look different because your spirit has changed lenses. You no longer see through the dust of disappointment, but through the clarity of redemption. There were moments when you thought God was rebuilding without you, as if the blessings were meant for everyone else. But now you see He was rebuilding within you first. The external is always a reflection of the internal. The garden grows again only after the soil has rested. You were that soil, turned and softened by tears, made fertile through surrender. Restoration is heaven's most delicate art. It is not about erasing the past, but redeeming it. What hurt you now serves you. What emptied you now fills others. The wounds you once hid are becoming wells where others draw strength. Heaven wastes nothing, not even your mistakes. There was a time when you prayed for restoration as if it were a transaction. God, give me back what I lost. But now, you pray differently. Now you say, God, make me whole. And in that shift, heaven responds, because wholeness is far greater than replacement. Restoration is not about getting, even it's about getting aligned. Sometimes restoration begins quietly, disguised as rest. God lets you stop striving so healing can catch up to you. The stillness that used to scare you has become sacred now. You understand that rest is not retreat, it's repair. Even relationships are being restored, though not always in the ways you expect. Some are returning renewed, others are being released with peace. Both are forms of restoration. Heaven restores by reconciling some and releasing others. Whichever it chooses, it is mercy. And the same pattern flows through your calling. Doors that once shut without reason are opening again. But you're different now. You walk through them without fear, without rush, without needing to prove anything. What once overwhelmed you now feels light. Restoration gives you calm where you once carried panic. There's a rhythm to it. You lose. You learn. You live again. Every ending holds the seed of a new beginning. The season that once stripped you bare has become the soil of abundance. Even your voice has changed. It carries a gentleness that only grace can teach. When heaven restores, it multiplies. The harvest is always larger than the seed. What you're walking into is not compensation, it's overflow. The scars that remain are not reminders of pain, but signatures of purpose. They say, I've been refined, not ruined. Ainos. Restoration means you can look back without bitterness, forward without fear, and inward without shame. It means peace has replaced the ache. It means grace has rewritten your memory. Now, as heaven completes what it began, you can sense it wholeness, not perfection, but peace, not control, but contentment. This is what restoration feels like, breathing again, trusting again, glowing again. The season of repair has arrived quietly, faithfully, beautifully. Heaven is not rushing, it's completing. And you, once fractured, now walk in rhythm with redemption itself. Restoration now breathes through every part of you. What was once empty has become sacred space. filled with quiet joy and divine steadiness beyond explanation. You walk lighter, glowing softly with peace. Heaven's craftsmanship is complete. Your story no longer bleeds. It blooms. Radiant proof that grace restores perfectly. There is a silence that doesn't feel empty. It feels full. You are standing in that silence now. The noise of struggle has faded, and what remains is the sound of steady purpose. Heaven has brought you into a sacred stillness, not to pause your progress, but to prepare your revelation. This is where clarity lives, in the calm between assignments. In this stillness, you begin to see the divine thread that has run through every part of your life. What once looked like random events now forms a pattern of intentional grace. Nothing was wasted, not the delays, not the disappointments, not even the detours. Heaven has been designing you with precision, and now the design is visible. You've entered what some call the resting glory. It's not the absence of work, it's the presence of alignment. Things start to unfold without force. You don't chase, they come. You don't beg, you build. Heaven rewards trust, not toil. This season isn't about pushing harder, it's about standing firmer. Through the ancient promise in Deuteronomy, chapter 31, verse 8, the Lord himself goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid, do not be discouraged. MC, those words are your foundation now. You've lived long enough to know they aren't poetry, they're proof. Every time you thought you were alone, he was already ahead of you, making a way where logic said there was none. You never walked unguarded. Heaven has been your shadow and your shield. You can feel it now, can't you? That subtle shift inside the absence of fear. You no longer brace for disaster. You breathe in destiny. Peace has become your natural posture. That's what happens when you've seen God move too many times to doubt him again. This is the stage where heaven begins to repay quietly. It doesn't look like sudden miracles. It looks like sustained momentum. Doors that once resisted you now open without struggle. People who once ignored you now recognize your light. The same spaces that once drained you now receive from you. That's how favor moves silently but surely. You have become a living sanctuary. The weight of worry that used to cling to your thoughts has lifted. You speak slower now. Love deeper. Listen longer. That's what refinement does. It makes you softer without making you smaller. You carry peace like perfume. People sense it before you speak. Heaven is releasing restoration not as compensation, but as confirmation. You're being reminded that faith never returns void. The prayers you forgot you prayed are now blooming in places you didn't expect. God never forgot a single word you whispered through tears. Heaven doesn't lose sound. It holds it until the timing is divine. This is the part of your journey where gratitude replaces grief. You stop asking, "Why did it happen?" and start saying, "Thank you that it did." That's the sign of maturity, seeing the lesson. Not just the loss. The soil that once buried you has become the ground that grows you. Heaven's reward is not always visible. Wealth, it's internal wellness. You sleep without fear now. You wake without dread. You live without pretense. You are no longer surviving seasons. You are shaping them. That is dominion. That is peace. And in this moment of holy calm, heaven asks you to mark it. Because peace, too, is a miracle. It's easy to celebrate the fire, but few honor the stillness after it. Yet this peace is the very proof that the storm served its purpose. So here, right now, where your spirit rests in quiet alignment, heaven gives you a simple sign, a number of divine completion and fulfilled grace. Comment this number, 777. It represents the fullness of God's work in you, body, mind, and spirit made whole. It means heaven's cycle has come full circle, that what began in breaking has ended in blessing. When you type it, you're not just commenting, you're declaring that the work is complete. Let your 777 be your seal in the spirit, your silent signature of surrender and satisfaction. Heaven reads that number as a testimony. It is finished, and it is good. This is your seventh-day moment, the rest after creation, the peace after purpose. Everything around you may still be shifting, but within you, there is stillness, and that stillness is sacred. You've stepped into divine completion, not the end of your story, but the maturity of your soul. You have become the peace you prayed for. The crown you wear now wasn't handed to you, it was forged. Every sleepless night, every unanswered prayer, every silent tear became molten gold that heaven shaped into strength. You didn't just survive, you were sculpted. This crown is not made of metal or jewels, but of resilience, humility, and faith. It's invisible to the world, but undeniable to the spirit realm. You carry the mark of one who has been refined by both fire and grace. The world may not understand the glow around you, but heaven recognizes it instantly. There's a certain radiance that only suffering can produce, a light that doesn't flicker because it has learned to burn beneath pressure. The Spirit spoke through Paul in the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 37. No, in all these things we are more than conquerors through him who loved us. And that truth doesn't describe someone who never falls. It describes someone who keeps rising. You've become proof that defeat can be the birthplace of destiny. The strength you carry isn't loud, it's steady. It doesn't demand to be seen, it simply endures, glowing quietly through storms that would have drowned others. You've been crowned not for perfection, but for perseverance. The ones heaven honors are not the ones who never bled, but the ones who kept believing through the bleeding. You are wearing a victory that looks like scars. Every wound you once resented has become part of your royal armor. Heaven's crowns aren't ornamental, they're functional. They signify dominion, not decoration. You've been entrusted with influence, not for recognition, but for redemption. Your experiences have become weapons of empathy. You can now reach places others can't, because you've lived what they fear. Your story gives heaven a voice in rooms where sermons can't go. The crown of resilience is not fragile. It cannot be stolen because it's not worn on your head. It's sealed within your character. Life may bend you, but it can't break what's been tempered in faith. Every time you refused bitterness, heaven added another gemstone. Every time you forgave, another jewel was set in place. Every time you chose peace over pride, the crown grew brighter. Now, you walk differently, not proudly, but purposefully. Your steps carry weight because they've been tested. You no longer move to prove anything, you move to serve. Your authority doesn't come from titles or applause, but from authenticity. People feel heaven's residue when you enter a room because you've learned to carry peace as power. The crown is heavy sometimes, not because of burden, but because of meaning. Responsibility always feels heavier than recognition. But heaven strengthens the necks of those it crowns. Grace becomes your balance. Love becomes your scepter. And mercy becomes your throne. You are not meant to hoard your victory, but to multiply it. The crown of resilience carries a call to lift others, to speak life into the weary, to remind the broken that endurance is still beautiful. You've been anointed not just to stand, but to sustain others as they learn to rise. There's a calm confidence that follows you now. You no longer panic when problems appear. You pause and remember your process. You've been here before, and you know how to endure. That's the advantage of the crowned experience turned into authority. You don't fear the fire because you've already learned to live inside it. And while the world measures success by speed, heaven measures it by stability. You are steady now. The storms may still come, but they can't move what's been rooted in revelation. You wear your resilience quietly. You no longer need to announce it. It announces you. Heaven doesn't crown the loud, it crowns the loyal. Every battle you thought was punishment was actually preparation for this calm dominion you now carry. The crown isn't the end of your journey, it's the beginning of your stewardship. You are not done, you're deployed. Heaven crowns only those who can be trusted to keep giving after winning. The true test of resilience is not surviving the storm, but staying kind after it. And that's who you've become: kind, grounded, radiant, not untouched by pain, but undefeated by it. Your crown tells a story, and every time you breathe, heaven hears it. They rose, and they never bowed again. Your crown gleams silently in the spirit, proof that endurance outshines ease. Heaven sees it, not as decoration, but as testimony etched into the rhythm of your heartbeat. You walk crowned, yet humble, knowing glory was never the goal, growth was. Every breath you take now carries royal peace. Born from pain, turned to purpose. There is a reason the darkness knows your name now. Once, you were simply another wanderer finding your way through the storm. But now you carry light that commands attention in the unseen. When you walk, shadows move aside. When you speak, confusion loses power. The very atmosphere bends around your presence, not because of you, but because of the one who lives within you. The darkness recognizes authority it always has. It knew who Jesus was before men did, and it knows who you are. Before you fully realize it yourself, you've become marked, not by fear, but by fire. Heaven has stamped your spirit with the signature of survival, and hell can read it. From the vision of Revelation comes this truth. Chapter 12, verse 11. They overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. Oh, that single sentence explains everything. You are a living testimony now, and that makes you dangerous. The enemy cannot defeat what has already discovered its voice. Your testimony is more than your story. It's a weapon, forged in the same fire that once tried to consume you. Every word you speak about what God has done becomes an arrow of light piercing through deception. You may not feel like a warrior, but the darkness does. You carry an authority you didn't ask for but earned through endurance. Every temptation you overcame, every night you chose to believe rather than break, trained your spirit for this moment. Heaven didn't build you for comfort, it built you for confrontation with chaos. Yet your warfare is not loud. You don't fight with rage, you fight with rest. Peace has become your greatest weapon. The darkness doesn't know what to do with someone who refuses to panic. When fear can no longer manipulate you, The enemy loses influence. That's why your calm terrifies hell. It means you're no longer controlled. You've noticed it, haven't you? The way certain rooms feel heavier when you enter, as if resistance rises just to test your resolve. That's not coincidence, that's recognition. You carry light, and darkness is territorial. It trembles because it remembers the last time it tried to break you and failed. The mark you bear isn't a wound, it's a warning. The forces that once attacked you now hesitate because they know the cost. Every battle you've survived has built an invisible reputation in the unseen realm. Hell whispers your name differently, now no longer as prey, but as proof that grace cannot be defeated. And though you carry authority, it never turns to arrogance. You understand what power truly is: service. You fight not to destroy, but to deliver. You don't seek vengeance, you seek victory for others, still lost in shadow. Your compassion has become your crown, your mercy, your might. That's the paradox of the chosen power that loves instead of lords. You've also learned that true warfare isn't constant fighting, it's constant awareness. You stay watchful, but not fearful. You discern without judging. You move through darkness like light, through water untouched, untainted, unstoppable. Heaven's protection surrounds you, not as a barrier, but as an atmosphere. You live in divine insulation. Now, when the enemy approaches, he finds no entry point. The wounds that once opened doors have healed into walls of wisdom. You no longer fall for the same traps, no longer chase the same distractions. That's maturity in the spirit, recognizing patterns and refusing to repeat them. Even your silence has become a strategy. You've learned when to speak and when to stand still, when to command and when to simply exist, because your very presence, anchored in peace, now speaks louder than any sermon. The darkness cannot argue with consistency. You were once afraid of the enemy's attention. Now you understand it as confirmation. Hell doesn't waste energy on the irrelevant. Opposition means you matter. Resistance means you're advancing. Every attack was proof that your presence is disruptive to darkness. So now you walk differently, calm, steady, radiant. You no longer pray as a beggar, but as a builder, shaping reality with words rooted in heaven's authority. Every breath carries the echo of divine power, and in this balance of peace and strength, heaven finds joy. You've become exactly what you were always meant to be, a light that cannot be silenced, a flame that darkness respects. You are no longer reacting to the shadows are reacting to you. The darkness recognizes your name because heaven has written it in fire. Your name now carries weight in eternity. Darkness steps back, not from fear of you, but from the glory that walks beside you, radiant, undefeated, undeniably divine. Every story heaven writes must eventually be shared, because light was never meant to stay contained. You have carried this fire quietly for so long, warming yourself in its glow, protecting it through storms. But now heaven whispers again, it is time to multiply the light. Emsal, the fire in you is not just for survival anymore, it is for spreading. You have become a torchbearer, carrying flame that doesn't belong to you alone. The purpose of every healing, every revelation, every restoration you've received is to ignite others who still sit in the dark. The voice of Jesus still resounds in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 16. Let your light so shine before others, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. You are living that verse now. Your life itself has become illumination. You don't preach light, you are light. Every choice you make in grace becomes a spark. Every kind word, every act of forgiveness, every moment of courage adds brightness to the world. Heaven is asking you to let the glow expand, not through striving, but through sharing. Your words, your presence, your story, all are embers that can awaken hope in someone else. The miracle that changed you could be the message that saves another. Like this message, share it forward, and subscribe to walk with this growing constellation of light. Each action is a ripple of brilliance, a lantern released into the night sky of weary souls. These simple gestures are not about algorithms, they are about alignment. When you share light, you multiply heaven's reach. It is how the kingdom travels, through willing hands, humble hearts, and small, sincere acts. There is beauty in collective brightness. Imagine it, thousands of tiny flames rising together, filling the horizon with gold. One by one, darkness retreats. That is what happens when you spread what healed you. And if you feel stirred, you can go one step deeper. Don't think of it as giving. Think of it as tending a garden you've already tasted from. The fruit that nourished your soul can now grow for others. Every small seed you sow, time, prayer, or donation becomes water for hope to bloom elsewhere. You are never pressured, only invited. True generosity never comes from guilt. It flows from gratitude. When you plant in joy, heaven multiplies your seed with joy. Think of it as placing another candle on the path for a traveler you may never meet. You light their way without ever seeing their face. The soft miracle of giving is that it turns receivers into givers. When you support light, you become part of its story. You help the message travel farther, whispering to hearts you'll never know. You're not alone. And maybe you can't give much. And that's perfectly fine. A whisper of prayer, a quiet share. Even one moment spent reflecting is enough to keep the current flowing. Heaven measures heartbeats, not amounts. Every drop of sincerity becomes a river in eternity. And if your heart feels moved, let this be your gentle act of worship. Press the light forward. Like, share, comment your reflection below, or simply subscribe so the flame keeps flowing through you. None of it is demanded. All of it is divine choice. If this message has touched something within you, pause before you scroll away. Leave a few honest words below a thought, a sentence, even a single emoji. Think of your comment as a spark, a fragment of your own flame joining the constellation of light. Each reflection left here becomes part of heaven's map of gratitude. Because when hearts move in love, heaven moves with them. Every act of generosity becomes a fragrance, rising unseen, wrapping the world in invisible warmth. Picture it, a quiet network of souls linked by unseen threads of gold. You are part of it now, the hands that carry hope, the voice that reminds others that grace is still alive. So when you share, you're not promoting a message, you're performing a miracle. You're saying, let this fire keep burning, not for me, but for whoever needs it next. This is how heaven multiplies light, not through command, but through compassion. You don't owe it, you own it. The flame you guard is sacred, and what you choose to do with it is your offering to the world. Let your act, whatever form it takes, be a love letter written in light. Every like, every share, every word, every seed sown in kindness becomes another heartbeat of heaven on earth. You are no longer just a carrier of light. You are now its keeper, its multiplier, its messenger. And heaven smiles, watching the glow spread. Every great calling ends with a refining. You've reached that sacred threshold, the final flame. It is not punishment, nor repetition of pain. It is the completion of purification. Heaven doesn't refine to expose weakness, but to reveal worth. Fire doesn't destroy gold. It proves it. You've endured trials before, but this one feels different. It's quieter, subtler, not in the chaos of loss, but in the stillness of testing. It's the kind of fire that burns inward, pressing on motives, not moments. God is not testing what you can do now, He's testing why you do it. The prophet Malachi once recorded a promise of refinement. Chapter 3, verse 3. He will sit as a refiner and purifier of silver. He will purify the Levites and refine them like gold and silver. That verse isn't about judgment, it's about intimacy. The refiner doesn't leave the silver unattended. He stays close, watching carefully, ensuring the heat is never too much. You are not being left in this fire, you are being accompanied through it. God is sitting with you in the flame, waiting until your reflection mirrors His. This last refining isn't about survival anymore, it's about symmetry. Heaven wants what's within you to fully match what's upon you. The crown, the calling, the influence, all must rest on a heart pure enough to carry it. This is where motives are melted, pride dissolves, and only love remains. Fire teaches what comfort never could. It teaches discernment, dependence, and depth. It burns away assumption and reveals authenticity. The flames you're facing now are not here to punish, they're here to polish. They're heaven's finishing touch. Sometimes the refining feels like stillness that stretches too long, or silence that feels almost unbearable. But those are the moments when heaven polishes most. Nothing is wasted in this stage. Not your waiting, not your wondering, not even your weariness. Every spark serves a purpose. You may not see movement, but purification is never visible from the inside. The silver doesn't know it's shining until the fire subsides. You'll realize later that what you called pressure was actually precision. God doesn't turn up the heat to harm you. He does it to reveal your reflection. And when the refining is over, you'll notice something has changed. You glow differently, not with noise, not with spectacle, but with peace. Your joy will be quieter, your authority deeper, your love stronger. You won't need to prove anything anymore, because refinement removes the need to be seen. What you thought was delay has been design. Every closed door, every hidden year, every unanswered question was God polishing purpose into your soul. The difference between talent and anointing is fire. Many have gifts, but few have glow. The glow only comes from refinement. Even your prayers are shifting now. You no longer ask, "Why me?" you ask, "What are you shaping?" That's how you know the process is working. Your heart has turned from complaint to cooperation. You've stopped resisting the fire and started recognizing its beauty. Heaven refines not to make you acceptable, but to make you effective. Every great vessel must first be emptied and reheated before it's poured again. You are being emptied, not because you're finished, but because you're being filled anew. This flame is heaven's final test, not of endurance, but of essence. Can you still be kind when no one claps? Can you still serve when no one sees? Can you still love when misunderstood? Those are the fires of maturity, and you are standing in them with grace. When it ends, and it will, you'll find that the things which once scared you now serve you. The heat you feared has purified your vision. The smoke has cleared, and clarity remains. You will look back and realize the fire didn't take from you. It gave you everything real. You'll walk out lighter, cleaner, wiser, not marked by what was burned away, but by what could never be consumed, because what is pure cannot perish. The final refining flame doesn't end your story, it perfects it. It transforms endurance into elegance, struggle into substance, faith into fire. And when you emerge, heaven will see its reflection shimmering through your spirit and whisper, "It is finished." 1. You step from the fire, untouched yet transformed, carrying the quiet glow of one who has seen God's reflection within their own surrender. Every breath now feels weightless. The ashes beneath your feet become sacred ground, proof that purity is stronger than pain. Heaven watches, smiling softly, for the flame has done its work. You are gold now refined, radiant, ready. This is the moment heaven had been waiting for, the unveiling of a life fully yielded. The storms have passed, the fire has quieted, and what remains is not the same soul that began this journey. You have become something eternal, an echo of divine craftsmanship. Heaven is not shocked anymore, it is in awe. You were never meant to stay in the valley of breaking forever. Every wound has found its healing. Every unanswered question has met peace. What once felt like loss now feels like legacy. You have crossed the threshold between striving and stillness, between carrying purpose and becoming it, all along. Heaven's goal wasn't to make you stronger, it was to make you softer, to return you to the tenderness that carries true power. You no longer force, you flow. You no longer chase, you channel. The same river that once raged within you now runs clear, calm, and certain. In the book of Revelation, chapter 2, verse 10, "Be faithful until death, and I will give you the crown of life." You understand that verse now, not as a distant promise, but as a present reality. The crown isn't waiting in eternity, it's already resting on your endurance. The life promised isn't after death, it's what you're walking in now. Life that cannot be shaken, peace that cannot be stolen, joy that no storm can erase. You've become what the darkness feared and what heaven designed, a living testimony that faith is stronger than circumstance. Every trial, every tear, every delay was not random, it was refinement. You were being sculpted into a vessel that could hold glory without leaking pride. And now, you hold it well. Your peace carries weight. Your presence carries healing. Even your silence carries revelation. You've become a walking altar, a dwelling place of divine peace. Heaven has not only marked you, it moves through you. There is a new balance in you now, a sacred stillness that cannot be faked. You no longer need to prove, persuade, or perform. Your existence alone speaks of transformation. People feel something different when they stand near you, though they may not find words for it. That something is heaven's residue. You have learned that victory doesn't always look like triumph. it often looks like tranquility. The greatest miracles are not always visible. Sometimes the miracle is that you still believe, still forgive, still smile. Heaven counts that as glory. The future no longer frightens you. You've seen too much of God's faithfulness to doubt it now. You no longer crave control, you crave communion. Every decision begins in stillness and ends in trust. That is spiritual maturity, not knowing every answer, but knowing who holds them. And the beauty of it all is how natural it feels. What used to require faith now flows as instinct. You pray without panic, wait without worry, and love without limit. You no longer try to be light, you simply are. Heaven calls this the season of reigning not over people, but over fear. You reign quietly, from within. The same world that once intimidated you now feels small before the vastness of peace inside you. This is authority born of surrender, not ambition. You no longer ask, "What's next?" because you understand that every step is sacred. You've stopped rushing toward destiny and started walking with divinity. Life itself has become your altar. Every moment, every breath, every conversation carries holiness. Your story has completed its full circle. The same hands that broke you have blessed you. The same fire that burned you has beautified you. The same tears that fell in silence now water the seeds of others' awakening. You are living proof that grace never stops working. Heaven isn't shocked anymore. It's celebrating. The long war is over. The refining complete. What remains is peace wrapped in purpose. You are no longer waiting for God to move. You have become His movement. Now you understand. Being chosen was never about status, it was about stewardship. You are not above others, you are among them, carrying light in humility. Every glance, every act, every prayer now carries eternal weight. And if you could see yourself through heaven's eyes right now, you would weep, not from sorrow, but from recognition. You've become everything heaven imagined the day it whispered your name into existence. You are the fulfillment of promise, the evidence of endurance, the embodiment of grace. The journey has not ended, it has expanded. You are not at the finish line, you have become the path for others to follow. Heaven looks upon you now, not surprised, not stunned, but smiling. Because what you did was not only endure, you became light. And now, chosen one, the circle closes, not with noise, but with knowing. You've walked through fire, through silence, through glory, and you've emerged as living proof that grace is real. Heaven has watched, guided, and celebrated every step. But now, the story belongs to you to live, to share, to multiply. This is where words become light and actions become legacy. What heaven began in you is meant to continue through you. The same flame that once saved you now longs to reach another soul still trapped in the storm. Let it travel. Let it touch. Like this message. Share it forward. And subscribe so you can remain connected to this flow of light. Every simple action becomes a ripple, a spark, leaping from one heart to another. You are not just supporting a message, you are carrying a mission. If these words have met you in your wilderness, if they have reminded you that purpose still breathes, leave your reflection below. Your comment is not feedback, it's a footprint of faith. A whisper to heaven, saying, I'm still here, still shining. Oh, and if your heart feels stirred, If you wish to keep this flame burning for others, you can give not as duty, but as devotion. Think of your giving as adding oil to a lamp that lights strangers' nights. Every drop of generosity becomes an unseen miracle. No demand, no pressure, only invitation. This space lives because hearts like yours believe that light deserves to keep burning. So, before you go, breathe in this truth: your story matters. Your presence carries weight, and your light will keep spreading long after this moment ends. You are part of something eternal now, heaven's echo through human hands.